Amazon removes encryption from Fire OS tablets. Microsoft thought about buying Slack but then said, nah. The UN backs Apple's stance on iOS security, and more. It's Friday, March 4th, and this is Crunch Report, presented by Toyota. Hello everybody, back in San Francisco. We got through a whole week without talking about Apple versus the FBI's whole locked phone case, but that all changes right now. The United Nations Commissioner for Human Rights is now weighing in. Zaid Ra'ad al-Hussein said in a written statement to Congress that privacy is a prerequisite for security and calls for clear lines to protect personal data in the digital age and in support of Apple. Hussein says the outcome of the Apple versus FBI case could have negative ramifications for the human rights of people across the world if it leads to the weakening security on iOS. Echoing Apple CEO Tim Cook's recent statement on the importance of the precedent in this case, Hussein says, quote, "This is not just about one case and one IT company in one country. It will have tremendous ramifications for the future of individual security in a digital world which is increasingly inextricably meshed with the actual world we live in." This is actually a very hot topic. At a panel discussion yesterday at the RSA conference happening in San Francisco this week, two former heads of the NSA and Homeland Security, Mike McConnell and Michael Chertoff, also expressed support for encryption technologies. They were sitting on a panel called Beyond Encryption, Why We Can't Come Together on Security and Privacy and the Catastrophes That Await If We Don't. Quite a name for a panel. Chertoff explained that the weakening encryption puts the internet economy at risk, puts too much burden on private businesses to make sure that information flows smoothly, and also limits technological development. McConnell added that if he were advising the FBI on the current Apple encryption case, he would tell them that they chose the wrong test case. McConnell says the public and the Congress don't have the kind of expertise needed to make informed decisions about this kind of cybersecurity. It needs a dedicated team. Now, all this is kind of fascinating given that both of these men once advocated for limiting privacy in the name of security, and here they are now defending encryption technology, and Apple in particular. Moving on to Amazon now. Amazon has confirmed that version 5 of Fire OS for its Fire tablet removes support for device encryption because it says customers just don't really want it. The company tells TechCrunch in a statement, "In the fall, when we released Fire OS 5, we removed some enterprise features that we found customers weren't using. All Fire tablets' communication with Amazon's cloud meet our high standards for privacy and security, including appropriate use of encryption." So, in short, Amazon still encrypts data transfers from Fire tablets to external servers, but not content being stored locally. Now, the company's claiming that users weren't using the encryption feature, and that's a little silly. I mean, maybe the majority didn't, but certainly some people care about it, and those folks are going to lose out here. So Slack announced new voice calling earlier this week. You heard about it here, although it also said that Skype integrations weren't going away, just that Slack was introducing its own option. But a source tells TechCrunch that, in fact, Slack was a potential acquisition target for Microsoft, which also owns Skype, for as much as $8 billion. But then the deal fizzled after Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates and CEO Satya Nadella were among the people unconvinced by the idea that it should buy Slack altogether. Gates is said to have pushed instead to add more features into Skype to make it more competitive with Slack in the business market. Now, Slack has a lot of momentum. It currently has 2.3 million daily active users. The company was valued at $2.8 billion. That was during its last announced funding round of $160 million in April 2015. But TechCrunch has heard that Slack is raising another round of between $150 million and $300 million, which would put it at a $5 billion valuation. Now, Microsoft has built and acquired other enterprise companies. SharePoint, Yammer, Lync, Skype come to mind. So instead of buying Slack, the company probably decided it already had the tools to build its own competitor. Let's finish this week with the Skywall 100. Have you heard of it? It's a device that promises to protect the world from drone takeovers. So it's like a bazooka that fires a canister filled with a net at drones that are about 100 meters away. And it uses an intelligent system that locks onto a drone, helps the operator in firing and targeting, and then scope identifies and calculates a firing pattern based on the drone's distance and vector. Once fired, the net gets tangled in the drone's rotors and then deploys a parachute to bring the whole thing back down to the ground. OpenWorks Engineering is the company making the Skywall 100 and is marketing the device to protect sensitive events and buildings, not really average consumers. OpenWorks is also announcing the Skywall 200, which is a semi-permanent launcher mounted on a tripod with longer range, and the Skywall 300, it's a turret-like device designed to be permanently installed somewhere. No word on price yet, probably pretty pricey, but the Skywalls are said to be available at the end of the year. And that is the report for the day and the week. I'm Sarah Lane, thanks for watching. Crunch Report airs every weekday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on TechCrunch.com. You can find us on iTunes and on YouTube as well. See you Monday.